Okay, graphing sine. So the sine wave is formed from the unit circle. The sine wave is all the y values on the unit circle, and that's how it is formed. I'm just going to show you how to graph it. There is another video if you go to the home page. It's put on there and it shows like how you get the sine wave, how it's derived from the unit circle. But we're just going to graph this, okay? So if we have y equals sine of theta, well, there's a couple things we need to write down first. So I want you to write down this because this is going to be the equation that we work off of all the time. Y equals a sine of b theta plus c. I want you to write that down. Y equals a sine of b theta plus c. Now, a, b, and c all have different meanings. So a is the amplitude or the height of the graph. A is the amplitude or the height of the graph. B is the number of cycles between 0 and 2 pi and is used to find the period. B is used to find the period. And then C is the vertical shift, so it's how far up or how far down we're going. Okay? And then the amplitude here, that is your A value, which we already stated. Period, you have to use B. It's always 2 pi over B. 2 pi over B. Okay, and let's just graph our parent function here. Y equals sine of theta. Now, if I put A, B, and C values into that, that's the same as 1 sine of 1 theta plus 0, right? Because if you multiply by 1, it doesn't change anything. Add 0 doesn't change anything. So my A is 1, my B is 1, and my C is 0. Now, that means my amplitude is 1. And my period is 2 pi over b, which is 2 pi over 1, which is just 2 pi. C is 0, which means we just don't move up or down at all. Now, for the sine graph, it is an S shape. Sine, S, you should be able to remember that. Sine is an S shape. And first, last, and middle are the same. So you always start your first point at the origin. So my first point is right there at the origin. My last point is at the period, whatever it may be. So our period here is 2 pi, so that's the last point. Go halfway between, and that's the middle point. Now we have to use the amplitude also. So for the amplitude, we go up the amplitude, or your A value, and you go down the amplitude. And you always go up first. Always go up first. Unless it's negative, which that's not going to happen. So always go up first. So you go halfway between to pi halves and go up 1. Halfway between those second 2 and go down 1. And then there is that S shape that I was talking about. S shape right there. Okay, we do have to fill out the left side of this graph. So we just basically copy those same points down. Okay, and then there is your sine wave. Okay, so sine, you always start at the origin, you go up your amplitude, and you go down your amplitude. So you go up to the highest peak, and you go down to the lowest valley. Okay? Let's look at this. So y equals 3 sine of 2 theta. So start with labeling A, B, and C first, always. So A is 3, B is 2, C is 0. So that means that my amplitude is 3. My period is 2 pi over 2, which is pi. And then C, we don't have a C, so that's nothing. Now remember, sine wave, first, last, and middle are the same. So you always start at your origin, right there. Last point is at the period, so it's at pi. Middle point on that same exact line, okay, on the same line. Then we're going to go up our amplitude, and we are going to go down our amplitude. So we go halfway between, go up, halfway between, go down. And then there is that S shape. We need to get this graph onto the whole thing, so we're just going to copy all of that. Okay. And then we can draw it right there. Cool? Let's look at this one. So 2 sine of 4 theta plus 4. So this one has a C value. It's a little different. So A equals 2, B equals 4, C equals 4. So that means my amplitude is 2. My period is 2 pi over 4, which is pi halves. And my vertical shift is up 4 because it's positive, so you go up 4. Now, we are just going to draw a new axis for this. That's the easiest way I have taught this is by drawing a new axis. So we're going to go up 4 and draw that new line right there. That is going to be our new axis, okay? So to say, it's our new axis. Now, let's draw this. So first, last, and middle are the same, and you start at your origin, except for we're working off of our new axis. So our new origin is right there. Last point is at whatever my period is, which is pi halves, so right there. And then halfway between, pi fourths, right there. And then you go halfway between, you go up your amplitude, so you're going to go up 2, and you go down your amplitude, down 2. And there is that S shape again. Okay, it's kind of like a twisted, weird, backwards S, but still it's an S shape per se. And then we can just copy those points. And there is that graph. Okay, let's do one more. So 4 sine of theta over 4 minus 3. Anytime it's written like that, I want to rewrite it. Okay, it's the easiest way to do it. So 4 sine of 1/4 theta minus 3. That's the same exact thing. We just rewritten it. Okay, so theta over 4, this right here, is equal to that. Okay, this is the same thing as that. Okay, now, so A equals 4, B equals 1/4, and C equals -3. So my amplitude is 4. My period is 2 pi divided by 1/4. Now, when you divide by a fraction, let's just write it out. So that's 2 pi divided by 1/4. We can flip that fraction and multiply. So that's going to be 2 pi times 4 over 1. Put that over 1, which is 8 pi over 1, which is 8 pi. So my period is 8 pi. One hint, when you divide by a fraction, you can always multiply by the denominator. So here, I knew that it was 2 pi divided by 1/4. Well, we could just do 2 pi times 4, and you get 8 pi, which is the same. Okay? Now, vertical shift is down 3, so we're just going to draw that new axis right there at -3. Sine, first, last, and middle are the same, so there's that first point. Last point is at 8 pi, so it's right there. Middle point's halfway between at 4 pi. And then we go halfway between those and go up the amplitude, so up 4 from that new axis. We're working from the new axis. Go halfway between, go down 4. This goes off the graph, but that's okay. And then same thing, that goes up, that goes in the middle. And there is our graph. Okay, so that's it for sine. Remember, first, last, and middle are the same, and sine is an S shape. First, last, and middle are the same, sine is an S shape. Okay, if I might do this different next year, but if you are, is it 2019, you need to watch the next video. Also, if not, then you figure it out. Okay, bye.